Do you understand that if we went around this whole auditorium right now and I asked people what they're complaining about, that 99% of it is dumb ass shit? Yeah. Like, we complain about the dumbest shit and then real shit happens and we're like, oh fuck. Like, I have some friends and relatives that complain so much that it gets me to such a crazy level. I said to one relative, I'm like, and I was at wit's end, we were having like a real conversation. I was just like, man, I wish something really bad happened to you. Because I don't mean it, but what I was trying to say to them is like, you complain about nonsense. And Karen at work is ruining me. Like, you know, like just like silly shit. Have you ever, like, do you watch Society? I watched somebody berate someone the other day at the airport for cutting them in line. Berate. As if that's some, like, what's the matter? I'll tell you what's the matter, people are unhappy. And this game matters, we have to fight for our own happiness over everything. So the high level activity that happens is I don't meditate, it's not exercise. Like, there's nothing, I don't fucking watch Rocky IV videos. I wake up and I say, my God, another fucking day on this earth where the people I love are good, I'm good. Now let me go work for 15 hours and have 800 fucking things go wrong. I am very inspired by the following scenario. I take a lot of 6 a.m. flights because I'm trying to get home as often as possible. So a lot of times when I have to fly, I'll take the earliest flight, get in, do what I have to do and get home. I am, to this day, wildly inspired. And I live in Manhattan, in New York City. What that means is we have 3 major airports and all of them require me to go through the city. Inevitably, I'm leaving at 4 a.m., 4:30 in the morning. And I'm watching people get out of the subway at 4 and 5 in the morning. And there's just something about the human, and I make up stories for myself. This is not even probably their real story, but I'll watch like a 52-year-old woman come out of the subway at 4:13 in the morning with 3 bags. And I think about like, is she like the backbone of her family? Did she lose her husband and she has 3 children that she's trying to, you know, provide for? I don't get inspired by like Steve Jobs or Elon Musk or Garyvee. I really don't. I genuinely don't. I get inspired by the hundreds of millions of people, the billions of people on earth that fucking grind through to try to make it better for their family. It inspires the living shit out of me. Does everybody understand how many people on earth could not afford to come to this conference? We are just all uncomfortably blessed. And so I'm inspired by the people in the dirt that have no choice and still punch through because they love the people in their family. I listened to positive people around me, and I didn't listen to a lot of influential family members I had in my life, cousins, grandparents, like things of that nature, and friends. I just limited envy and jealousy, and I leaned into optimism and gratitude, and I've been practicing it for 40 years, and here I am. But what I've seen that really inspires the shit out of me, which is why I'm making this comment on this video, is I've watched people who for 37 years or 18 years or 22 years be the opposite, come into our world or other people's worlds or marry someone who's positive and grateful, and I've watched them shift their perspective. Humans are byproducts of the information and the energy they decide to consume. This is why I would get so crazy about like people who want to like stay in unhappiness. Like if you're unhappy, if you're deeply unhappy, instead of blaming everyone else for it, put in the work to get out of it. Because you can, I believe in people. This is not like you're an asshole, you know, like you're a bad guy, like you go, you fucking, no, this is like, I fucking believe in you. Like you can do it, right Dust?
Yes sir.
You believe that, right?
I believe I'm to try all the time.
Right, and you believe that everyone has different levels of talent to be able to pull it off, but us within our own selves have the capacity to move the ball down the field and choose it and be a little bit better than before. Avi, do you feel, Avi, that you are more optimistic and like positive because we've been around each other?
Absolutely.
Truly? Nope, don't bullshit me
My
now.
heart. Yeah,
In your heart?
Yeah.
Mainly because it's just the energy that's always around? Do you think it just seeps? We haven't really talked like that.
No, but the energy, the life experience, it's all positive. And I truly believe like any one of us can overcome anything. We just probably need a little push, a little encouragement.
Or serendipity, or the luck of the draw of getting into an environment that's that way. But then when I say the luck of the draw, one can create their luck by acknowledging right in this minute as you watch this fucking video or listen to it on podcast that you're like, fuck it. Like everyone has a fuck it moment. Oh, you don't get it, Julian, I'm a perfectionist, that's why I can't put out this video. This is why I'm not starting my photography career. I'm a perfectionist. No, you're not. You're cute with your words and you're using it as an excuse to not do because you fear failure. You're not a perfectionist, you're an avoider.
Their scales get reset. They're starting at -5 instead of at 0. So them getting to just
-2?
Yeah, is great. Or they
I
find
agree.
comfort in being in that position because that's what they do for so long.
Yeah, they find comfort, but what they're doing is they're avoiding accountability. Fear. Fucking hate fear, man. Boy, do I fucking hate fear. Boy, do I hate fear.
Yeah, it's like the perfection thing. It's not about being a perfectionist, you're afraid to fail.
100%. And it's a cute version. You don't have the humility to admit that you're scared, so you created this real pretty package called perfection. Boy, do I get triggered when people say I'm a perfectionist. I get triggered, and it's funny, not anger, deep empathy. I'm like, wow, you're deeply scared, and you've manipulated yourself and others to hide that you're scared. The reason I'm petrified of 8th place trophies is when you tell a child, you sucked at this, but we're still gonna give you a medal because we don't wanna hurt your feelings, we're telling the child that losing is bad. You're stuck right now because you think losing is bad. I know that when I let all my people do everything, that when they fuck it up, that I call the customer and I say, I'm sorry, and I fix it.
Snap.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen? They're gonna fuck it up and what? You're gonna go out of business?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
The fuck are we talking about?
That's right. I know. I knew it. Thanks, Gary.
You're welcome. Self-love. Nobody's been able to ever say anything that has veered me away from how I feel about myself ever for even a second. Now that doesn't, like, I think I make mistakes every day. I think I have bad days, I think I have bad weeks, I think I have bad traits. But I've never felt that I suck. Like, and nobody's been able to ever convince me that I'm bad, you know? And so that's been huge. Hard work. Like, tenacity matters. Like, if you're gonna build something real, like, you're gonna have to put in the work. I love how people realize that in health and fitness, but then try to make pretend in business that there's some sort of system. Like, you know, there's no passive way to get muscles. I mean, I guess you could get fucking like ab implants, but like, and yet people keep thinking there's a shortcut. My favorite, bro, is all these fitness people that start businesses who all their fitness content is there's no shortcut for putting in the work in the gym and eating right, and you've got to eat properly and your protein ratio, and you got to eat clean, and they go all the way there, but then right away they're looking for a shortcut in business. You know, and so I think tenacity, I think self-love, I think curiosity. Here's a big one for a lot of you that I don't think is talked enough about. I think a big reason I've succeeded in a lot of things that I see in others working is curiosity. Too many people say no. Like, watch this. No bullshit. Please, Melbourne, please don't bullshit me. It's okay. This is not like a Raz session. I just want you to raise your hand. If the first time you heard about AI, no way, that's bad. Raise your hands. Raise it. High. Higher. That I think about a lot. The actual point is there's almost, in my opinion, one of the great missteps of opportunity is being in the business of no. If all those people would attack the information, something new, with at least maybe, I think that would be very fruitful for them in life. To me, no's and yeses should actually be met with maybe much more often, right? So like the same people that just raised their hand that said no to AI 20 years ago said no to cellular phones. You know, people said no to email. People said no to cell phones. How many people here had a BlackBerry? Raise your hands. Do you remember when the iPhone came out, how you were like, fuck that shit, I need my buttons? How many people here have a BlackBerry with buttons right now that they actively use? You know how many people here said they were never gonna be on social media? You know how many people in here said they were never gonna be on TikTok? I've always been in the business of maybe. I've learned a lot, including the 99% of things that end up being no. I learned by just going and exploring it, which helped me understand the yeses.
I think the biggest question I wanted to ask you is like, something I struggle with a lot is self-doubt, you know.
From the parents.
Not just that, but I put it on myself, like a lot of it.
No, you don't. No, you don't. This is the number one mistake that everybody thinks. Everybody thinks that they put their own self-doubt on themselves. It's actually not how it works. Outside forces got into your head and then made you self-doubt. You think it's your voice. Nobody's voice hates them in the beginning. It's a voice that's been implanted in you, either in the beginning from your neighborhood, an outside force, often parents. And so where people get really fucked up is they think like when I talk about like don't listen to the Joneses, they're like, fuck, you know, I don't care about other people, it's that I shit on myself. And I'm trying to get people to understand, you're not shitting on yourself, you've taken on the voice of somebody from the outside. You weren't born with like, I hate me. You've taken on the voice of somebody from the outside. It's very important that you understand this. I'll tell you why. It gets a lot easier if you actually believe it and understand it, because then you can understand it versus laying there and being like, why do I hate myself? You know what I mean? You don't. Somebody implanted their insecurities on you. It's why a lot of people get value out of me, because through my practical optimism, not my delusional you're an 8th place trophy, but for my practical optimism, if people keep putting that voice in their ears, the reason people listen to so much of my content is I'm optimistic, but I'm not gonna sugarcoat it and be like, if you just wish it, it happens. And in that balance, over time, if that's what goes into your ears, then all of a sudden you start believing it. Like, I genuinely believe it. I believe that the two of us should never doubt ourselves. Why? Like, I don't understand. Like, go do and deal with like, I think I suck at most things, but I need to go find that out for myself, not do it because I'm worried about somebody judging me on my failure. Like, this is just the way it is. I'm just really happy that you're even like that we're interacting this much, because like, honestly, you know, it's funny. I just want people to listen to me as much as possible until they don't need to listen to me, and then I don't want them to listen to me at all. More importantly, listen to me, this is binary. You need to act, if you use this time that we've interacted, this time, to understand that any level of self-doubt or insecurity that you have in your head is literally been put inside of it, and it's not you doing it to you, it will change your fucking young life.
How do you respond emotionally to a bad comment or a hater? How do they respond mentally?
I mean, the way I respond and the way that I would ask you to debate is I respond to those comments with empathy. Could you imagine being a human being that goes around the internet looking at people's videos and pictures and deciding to spend time to make them feel bad? I feel bad for them, brother. Because they're in pain. They're in a bad place. If you are in the business of tearing other people down, you are deeply unhappy inside. So, you know, the next time somebody comes on your page and says, you're stupid, you're ugly, you suck shit, don't feel bad for you, feel bad for them. Like, I've never spent a second trying to tear other people down, let alone going around the internet to find something to tear somebody down about. Like, you know, and I understand that if you don't have self-confidence, it's gonna trigger you. I think the more interesting question I've been debating for a decade is, how do you build self-confidence? I think one of the fastest ways is to cut out people that are tearing down your confidence around you. I think the conversation that needs to be had, are you willing to limit your time with family members who make you feel bad? Like, you know, I'm not telling people to stop talking to their mom, but if your mom is making you feel like shit and is constantly complaining and everything is bad, maybe you don't need to speak to her 3 times a day. We have to take on accountability and protect ourselves and decide what we're consuming. In life, you find what you're looking for. If you want to find good shit, you can literally open your phone right now and find unlimited good shit. People are like, the algorithm. I open my algorithm and it's like, man saves boy from the pond. Mom loves son. Happy is good. That's my algorithm. Like, your algorithm is exposing you, not trying to trick you. China's not trying to get you. You're paying attention to dumb shit. You need to really quickly realize that if you're, and by the way, most people sitting here beat themselves up and don't love themselves. But you need to realize it's, actually, let's have a real moment. No bullshit, I know this is hard, but do this for me because I'm feeling something. On some real shit, how many people feel in this room, by a show of hands, that they beat themselves up and they're their toughest critic and they shit on themselves? Raise your hand. Now, this is very important. You have to hear this. It's not you. You don't shit on yourself. Someone put that in you. You have to understand this. You don't hate yourself. You don't think you suck. You're not the imposter. You're not insecure. Somebody taught you that. The second you understand that truth, you can understand that you do love yourself. You start to find it. And this is very important. And you have to fucking understand this. You do not hate yourself. You do not think you suck. You just got unfortunate that somebody in your life created that framework. But before you're pissed at your mom or your dad, this is very important. This is why my favorite quote from VCon this year, which was "fuck your grandparents," is very important. As I'm watching people get emotional in the crowd, don't get mad at your parents because someone did that to them. You understand? Please, I'm telling you, you don't hate yourself. You don't think you suck. You don't think you're shit. It was put in you, and you've got to start the process of understanding you do love yourself, that somebody else's judgment on themselves created your framework of judging yourself, and you can get out of this fucking hole. And then once that happens, once you love yourself, it's fucking game over. When I tell you, when you love yourself, everything's good. Nothing's scary. It's all gravy. You're winning, good. You're losing, good. This, good. That, good. I remember when man, when you love yourself, I remember growing up, if a girl didn't like me back, I'm like, you fucked up. I feel like I can see, in the same way that if you asked me 6 years ago therapy, I would be like, I'm starting to see 2 or 3 people talk about it that makes me, I think it's coming.
Yeah.
I genuinely think, and I'd love to be one of the 1,000 faces of happiness needs to be the ROI.
That's it.
Now, at the same token, we can't demonize work ethic because a lot of people are trying to do that too.
I love it. I'm like you. We love the grind. We love the hustle. But when it's time to disconnect, I like disconnected.
Fair, me too. But people are judging people that are working a lot, and to me, it's not about working a lot. It's, do you love what you do?
Yeah.
We don't do that to Beyonce.
No.
We don't do that to baseball players.
No.
We're doing it to entrepreneurs, but we're not doing it to other people. Elton John's working his face off.
Yeah.
He's 72, out there because they love it. Some small group of people love either producing content or being entrepreneurs. The problem is entrepreneurship got so cool that everybody wants to be it. It's the same reason that athletes fail so much.
You don't think entrepreneurship is getting a little bit easier nowadays, though?
I think there's more opportunity because of the internet.
Yeah,
yes, I do.
exactly.
But I think here's the problem. Everybody thinks, especially like the young faces, that entrepreneurship means I make $1 million a year. And to me, entrepreneurship, and it's amazing. Big shout out to Breakfast Club, first of all, just because it's an incredible program. But that first time I came through, just appreciate your cosign of like what I spoke about, but I appreciate Envy pushing back because he didn't know me. He's like, wait a minute, like is this typical, motivational bullshit?
The white privileged guy coming from a white
100%.
privileged perspective,
Couldn't
telling
be more
everybody
empathetic.
his life is so easy, you can make it. Yeah.
And nobody knows my backstory, so I don't expect anybody to put in that work. And he goes, give me something tangible, and it led to the flipping shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, because you're busy as fuck and you shouldn't.
I see you with your garage sales.
It's getting crazy. And Charlie, where it's really getting crazy is what I tried to achieve on Breakfast Club and what I'm trying to achieve here. $57,000 a year, loving the thrill of the hunt at Goodwill or on eBay or garage sailing versus 71 or 62 or 49 doing something you hate is my dream of entrepreneurship. Not Uber and Facebook and Instagram, which is what everybody's looking at.
Yeah.
No, can you make more selling the dresses you make handmade than you would working as an accountant? Can you make, by the way, let's go big time. Can you make $400,000 a year doing a podcast and selling t-shirts versus making $380 being a lawyer, and she's living a lifestyle where she needs all $380 to pay for that lifestyle?
Can you make $100,000? And you make $50,000? Like, to me, that's if you built something from the ground up, something that you created, you work for yourself, and you put it out there, and you got people buying your product or buying into whatever it is you're doing, and you're making $50,000. Like, that's a win.
I've got a big one right now. The one that I'm going to really zero in on. I'm going to unveil it a little bit right now. If you make $8 to $12 an hour, and you have a car, I need to push you to garage selling. It's almost impossible that you can't make more money flipping than working at a quick service restaurant.
But I also think it's easy to negotiate your goals. It's easy now to say like, oh, I'm not gonna do this, I'm gonna try this, I'm gonna throw, and like people don't stick with things. Most people do 95% of the same thing.
Because they don't mean it, Jess. They actually don't. It sounds good. Like there's a really deep psychology on this that people have to wrap their, and by the way, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, why do you want to be a billionaire? Why do you want to start a business? Like, this is what goes into like a very deep conversation, which is people do things they think they're supposed to do. They don't mean it. When you mean it, there is no other option. When you mean it, there is no other option. When you don't mean it because you think it projects well, or it's the thing you should do, or your parents want you to, or you think it's cool, or it'll get you girls, or it sounds fun.
The deeper layer of that, of meaning it, comes from wanting it. And I could say, if someone said to me, what's the silver bullet of being an entrepreneur? I would say you have to really want it. And then people laugh. I really wanted the promotion. I really wanted to win the lottery. They don't understand what I'm talking about. I can look at someone in their eye and tell right away if they want it or not, if they're willing to go through the 18 couches that I went through. And I had plenty of egg on my face too. You gotta want it so bad that the obstacles don't mean anything. So if you do 400 DMs and they don't hit, it doesn't mean anything. You're on DM 1. It starts with
and when you're really there, you're like almost evil about it and you're happy nobody replied. Like where I go is a scary place where I'm like I hear that, I'm like, yeah. I want disgusting. I mean it. If I hit 400 DMs and it comes back goose egg, I get crazy. I'm like, I'm like, you fuckers are gonna be real sad when you see this DM in 6 years.
Yeah, it's fuel.
It's real fuel. Like I'm on some real chip on shoulder, I'm gonna fucking kill your mother shit.
Well, you can't.
When it comes to business. I mean
when
this.
It comes to everything.
Like in real life, I don't want to kill your mother, but in business, like when I watch athletes play, like I love people that, like I love Draymond Green. Like that's who I am as an athlete. Fuck you at all costs. I don't give a fuck. Fuck you.
See, I think it's everything, because if you don't have that attitude in other buckets of your life, it's everything. You have to create an environment in your head that no matter what, you're gonna get it done.
I created this framework for judging myself. I believe that as a recovering perfectionist, that I am my biggest critic. And
I believe if I showed you the video of the first 5 years of your life and every single thing your parents, grandparents, and the people around you did, things would become much more clear for you that you had nothing to do with that. You know, we can remember at a certain level. The problem is a lot of things are being formed before we can remember. So it's just very obvious. By the way, you have children or no?
No.
Okay, do you plan on it?
Yes.
Okay, this is gonna get very clear for you when you see it from the other side. You know, like, we're animals and we're being nurtured by our environment. This shit was figured out long before I came along, I promise you that. The nature nurture thing is real. And so there's something incredibly liberating for a lot of people once they realize it's not you hating you, because that's very complicated and painful.
If I'm honest, I'm still not 100% getting it. I understand what you're saying about the environment, etc., but could you elaborate that a little bit more?
Yeah, well, like, it just depends on how you want to play the game. So for example, we all have our DNA.
Yeah.
Do you think you're responsible for your really good-looking face?
No, absolutely not. I wish I was, because I'm damn good looking.
I agree. So you don't think you're responsible for your face,
Yeah.
but you do think you're responsible for your insecurity.
Yeah, I get the inconsistency there, yeah.
Yeah, well,
So when you said, when you love yourself, it's all gravy,
yes.
what does that feel like?
The fucking best. Like, it really feels great to feel light. It feels nice. And of course, I'm a human being. It's not like I'm fucking in la la land. But when the foundation is good, when you really do fight, like for me, when I'm struggling with something and I'm stressed, it fascinates me how much my natural framework starts to fight me out of it. Like how quickly, whether it's an hour or a half a day, like everything is forcing myself into okay, hold on. So you're stressed about this, but let's pretend this was fine. And X happened. Someone that you care about was sick or very quickly I go to the higher level of perspective. And so that practice, so it feels nice to not worry all the time, about things that are silly. It's good to worry about the important things. The health and well-being of yourself and your loved ones. After that, it's everything else is manageable. I talk about the same stuff. And once in a while, somebody will leave a comment, or even here will be like, Gary, you talk about the same shit. And I look at them like, do you want me to lie and make up shit? Of course I talk about the same shit because I've been running businesses for 20 plus years and it works. And when I look at other businesses that work, they're doing the same thing I'm doing. And then when I look at other things, I see businesses sometimes that work for a year and then collapse because it's what I've been talking to you about for the first 15 minutes, which is if you're gonna be built on shit, you're gonna sink. You like that one? That's a good one. I like it too. Like a shit, it's soft. I get it. Judgment is very interesting to me. I've come to realize in the last 3 years that it is judgment that is stopping 90% of this audience. Especially when you go into different subcultures, it is scary to me how many of you are not doing things because you're worried about what your parents would think. You're worried about disappointing your parents. You're worried about the leverage your parents have. And that is unbelievably true in every culture, but obviously quite true in this culture. Judgment is the number one thing that I need to break you out of for you to even begin to make content on social networks. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be right. You need to stay in your lane. You need to talk about what you know. You need to talk about what you're passionate about. You got to talk about either what you like or what you know. But you can't worry about the comments. Are you really going to live your life based on somebody anonymous saying that you're ugly or not smart? Yet almost everybody does. The amount of people that refuse to post or stopped posting because of a negative comment is remarkable, or because of a snarky comment by their brother or best friend or girlfriend. It's remarkable to me how grateful I am, how thankful I am that I was parented in a way that built self-esteem, confidence. And I'm grateful and also sad by how many aren't. And the only way I know how to break it is to push positivity and optimism and practical positivity into the ecosystem. If you're sitting in this audience today and you're not happy, and I mean this, like really ask yourself, are you happy? It's really been interesting to me to find something that works, which is you have to change who you're listening to. If you're sitting in this audience today and you're not happy, you have to change who you're listening to. It's scary to me that 85% of the people that are here today are here for one reason. They're looking for something because most likely a parent put them in a position that hasn't allowed them to feel fully comfortable. And so what has gotten me more motivated than ever around this subject matter is this, and I'm gonna keep going back to it. I would not be giving this keynote 20 years ago because living a life around putting out content on a platform that could reach so many people wasn't real. When the internet wasn't here, it was harder to do what you love. It was harder to be practical. You couldn't work your day job and then start a whole nother big career after because it was late at night and the internet didn't exist, so there was no scale. You know what, we're gonna open a store that was only open from 9 p.m. to midnight? It wasn't practical. It is now. This is like, I wish everybody here understood, including me, how lucky we are to be living in a world where the internet is now a thing. Our grandparents didn't have these options. We must take advantage of this. And everybody thinks there's a right way. There is no right way. There's only your way. Some people are great at writing, others are not. Some people are comfortable in front of a camera, others are not. Some people are good at talking, others are not. The fact that you have the ability to control how you put out information based on what you're good at is remarkable. I don't want you to have a video blog if you're not comfortable in front of a camera. It's the reason I don't write. All my written content is Rogoff on my team taking the transcription of my audio. I can't write. I've written 5 New York Times bestselling books and I can't write. I'm serious. This is important. I have a top 100 podcast and I don't sit down and do a podcast. I strip the audio out of my vlog. Can we hear it for D-Rock? He's sitting on the ground. I deploy self-awareness and self-esteem to reverse engineer myself to put myself in a position to succeed. It is my great hope that I can inspire people to do the same, but it starts with being self-aware and having self-esteem.
I remember before you also said not to be angry at your mom and your dad, etc., because their grandparents made them.
Yeah, fuck your grandparents.
Yeah. So I actually feel like my dad is one of my biggest sources of fuel. Like when I reach into the cookie jar, I reach into my dad.
That's awesome.
Essentially, right?
That's
metaphorically. Right. And I feel like a lot of the reason why I've been able to achieve the amount of success that I have is because of his lack of belief,
Makes sense.
his negativity, etc. And I feel like that's actually
I'm sorry.
fueled
His what?
me. I feel like that's fueled me. Yeah.
That's right. That's what I'm
Is that
scared.
a good thing or is that a bad thing? Is that the right mindset?
That's the thing I'm scared of. Right. Are you mad at him?
Well, I'm not sure. Should I be mad? That's really the essence of my question.
Well,
because
if you're not sure, what the fuck do you want from me? What do you think? Do you think you're mad at him, or do you think you feel bad for him, and it's allowing you to try it a different way? You might have compassion for him.
By and large, I'm happy because, as I said, that's the large fuel for what's driving me forward, I think. Okay. My biggest purpose in life is to prove him wrong. I want to be like, see, I did it.
Right. That's called being Darth fucking Vader. That's the dark energy. Hard to be sustainable.
Yeah.
When does that end of you proving him wrong? Is that $1 million? Is that a million followers? Is that having a hot +1? Like, where does that stop?
I've got a pretty clear destination. Actually, when we're doing 8 figures, and
Why not 9?
Well, I think 8 will be enough for me.
Yeah, but why?
Because when I reach 8,
why
then
not?
I think I'll achieve
Then
my
why not
purpose of
7?
becoming- Sorry?
Then why not 7?
Well, because I'm already there.
Okay, so what? Like, but why 8 and not 9? You do
Well, I
understand?
think that once we're at 8 figures, then I'll be able to say, hey Dad, look, we've influenced this many people, we've saved this many lives.
He's
we've
going to
had
say, I
this
don't give
many
a fuck.
Really? Cool.
Like,
Thanks.
what I'm trying to play out with you is you just arbitrarily made that up.
Yeah.